father's dog sensed my mother's approach first. Until that moment, the collection of misfits and mutts had lounged on the Aubusson carpets lining the drawing room's floors, rubbing their flea-ridden backs against the thick wool pile in a nonchalant disregard for propriety. But presently, they sprang for the double doors, their claws failing to afford them any grip on the polished hardwood floors, and skidding to a stop, lined up like soldiers in order of height, awaiting her arrival. For those in doubt of the dog's competence, a voice piercing the air of the hallway beyond the double doors, with the power of a locomotive whistle, calling on various servants to join her, heralded my mother's impending approach. The grand doors swung open, and my mother breezed in, trailed by her retinue of a private secretary, an assistant to the private secretary, the butler, a pair of footmen, and a quartet of page boys. Unlike most families of our milieu, my mother continued to employ an unabridged set of servants. Her extravagant dowry, being one of the notorious Darla princesses, had guaranteed that she could not only refurbish the family's medieval castle with the latest conveniences of indoor plumbing, but also retain all her domestics, both rarities among the impoverished aristocrats of the land after the Great War. She had yet to notice my presence in the room. Sitting in a wing chair in an alcove by the bow window, I watched her from the relative seclusion of my seat as she tried to maneuver the couch and sit down. The house cat, a stray tabby that had arrived one day and refused to leave, spared her a cross-eyed glance, but did not budge from her spot on the couch. The seat of contention happened to be right under the outsized sergeant portrait of my mother, confident forward stance, smirk, gazing directly at the viewer, painted on the occasion of her debut in Boston. My mother loved sitting under the portrait. It served the twofold purpose of showcasing to hapless visitors her social stature, as evidenced by having been painted by the great artist, and tacitly imparting the fact that she had lost none of her youth and radiant beauty since the portrait was painted, despite having 4 grown children. One had to concede that the former assured the admiration of male visitors, while the latter greatly intimidated female ones. Perhaps sensing that this was the spot where the most important family member sat, the cat found it equally attractive, and strived to usurp it from my mother on any occasion. After a few tense moments of a silent battle of wills, my mother relented and picked another place to sit. Observing the incident, I knew there was a lesson for us all in what had just transpired, but my musings were cut short by my mother, who had spotted me at that very moment. "Carolyn!" she exclaimed in her measured, cultured voice. "What are you doing hiding there?" I was not hiding. I had been going through the day's correspondence. Although I had been back in England less than a week, invitations to various parties, dances and soirees had begun pouring in. Chums like Edwina Thompson-Brown, Lilibeth Galardzill, and Clementine Westley expressed profusely their desire to see me again. But there was only one invitation that had attracted my attention. My mother beckoned me towards her with an elegant hand, discreetly bedecked in a few priceless family jewels that were rumoured to be the envy of Queen Mary. Though as fond of jewellery as the Queen, my mother thankfully showed more restraint when it came to adornments. Although the daughter of a Boston businessman, my mother did not let the fact that she had not been born into the aristocracy trouble her. In fact, she believed that the Boston Brahmin class in which she was born was much more exclusive. As she was fond of saying, one could not buy their way into a Boston Brahmin family.